Thinking about leaving your soul-sucking 9 to 5 job, one of the biggest struggles I see people, especially as women, face is the idea of having that safety net, that enticing perks and benefits, and listening to that head trash of what will people think if I leave. I totally get it, and I've been where you are. That's why I created a free guide to help you if you're thinking about putting in that notice. It's called Unlocking Your Exit Plan. Discover 5 things you need to do before leaving your 9 to 5. This guide is filled with worksheets and steps so you will have hand holding along the way. You can download your copy in the link in the show notes, and again, it's totally free. Now back to today's episode. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. So cool, right? It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. You're listening to the Hello C.S. Dorsey podcast, episode number 13. Natalie Lawson and Brandie Thomas are the founders and creators of Victorious Entrepreneur Rising. The awesome sister duo program Rise to Your Purpose is to help women of faith in network marketing to create their mission-driven business and rise as leaders in the industry. Let's dive in. Tired of staring at blank pages and don't know what to do? Or you completed your manuscript and now what? My name is C.S. Dorsey of HelloCSDorsey.com, and I coach writers and authors with the writing and self-publishing process. I wrote my book in 3 months. Yes, 3 months. It took dedication, discipline, and time management. After 3 months of writing and 3 months of editing, I submitted my book to tons of literary agents who said no or just didn't say anything at all. So I went to my best friend Google. My goal is to help, teach, and motivate writers to take that leap to become a self-published author. It will be a dream come true. Okay, and we're recording. So thank you guys so much for being on the show. Really happy to have you. So tell everyone about yourself and what you guys do.
All right, I'll get started. So my name is Natalie Lawson, and I'm here actually with my business partner, who also happens to be my sister.
Hi, everybody.
And so we both live in Indiana, and we are founders and creators of Victorious Entrepreneurs Rising. And so what we love doing is we have really been in the network marketing industry for cumulative of 10 years and really dove in over the last 5 years. And then we both are just entrepreneurs in general. My husband has a film production company called Endrow, so I help him with that. And I know Brian can share a little bit more about her endeavors as well here in a minute. But we just really love helping women and women of faith in their journey as they are growing their business online and really stepping into their purpose and feeling those passions that they have. And so that's what we really focus on in our community.
Awesome. Brandie?
Yeah, so I'm Brandie for everybody listening. Natalie and I, we have been working together for probably closely more for the past 5 years. And then we started at Victorious Entrepreneurs Rising a little over a year ago. I have a background in IT and computer information systems and marketing, and have my master's in business. So business has always been a passion of mine. And also just really enjoy networking and getting to know people and what, makes them unique and creating relationships with them.
So tell us something about yourselves that a lot of people may not know.
I'll let you start, Brandie, if you want.
I would say one thing that a lot of people don't know about me, and it actually is something that I'm pursuing this year, is writing. So I was really excited to learn more about you, Candace, and your writing. So I've actually been asked to collaborate in a book, and I'm a blogger, but I've mainly just done that as kind of a hobby for myself, just like therapeutic, but actually pursuing that as more of a like actually becoming an author. And so that's really exciting that most people don't know. So
that's awesome. That's so awesome to hear.
And when do you know when that book's coming out? I know you're going to be published in a book.
Yeah, so I'm going to be published. I'll have a chapter. I'm doing a book collaboration with some other women entrepreneurs, and that is scheduled to release sometime later, like after May, probably summertime. So my chapter has to be done by February, and they'll go through the editing process and the publishing process, and then hopefully we'll be doing like book tour stuff late second quarter. So
that's great. So probably if you don't follow me, probably there is a lot you probably don't know about me, but I also, with my businesses, I'm also actually a 5th grade teacher. And so I'm really trying to keep that career going. But long-term, my husband and I joke about, I want to be like the Emma Thomas. So I'm working on learning more about the film industry, and so I can help produce when he is working on more of his movies and in the work in that field, as well as continuing with coaching. That's just like a passion of mine. So some people either know me in the entrepreneurial world or they just know me as a teacher. And so I actually really just love doing all of that.
That's awesome. And may I add that 5th grade is very hard. 5th grade was so hard for me. So I'm surprised I even passed.
Yeah, the content definitely is a lot harder. I had to reteach myself some things when I jumped from 2nd grade to 5th grade. So, but I love that grade actually, as far as teaching it. So
that's good. We need more 5th grade teachers because I know there's like a transition between 5th grade and then middle school. So it's kind of like you have to it has to be a little bit more harder because you're doing the transition. Yeah. But I'm like, I skate through that. I don't know what happened, but it was hard. It was definitely hard for me. Okay, so our theme is time to level up, how to reach your goals in 2020. What tips or advice can you give our listeners out there to how to level up in their business, their life, health, family, just those advice or tips for them?
I think the first thing I would do, and especially if you are a business owner, and this was a big change for Brandie and I when we were really working on transforming our business and really stepping up our game, like you said, up leveling. And it was really about knowing our mission, and that who you are. You want to become comfortable with who you are and know who you are, who you're about, what you're about. And so you can be authentic, especially as you're showing up online. And then who do you want to help? That was huge, especially for in our industry. You're used to, you want to help everybody, obviously, but really if you can narrow that down to know who do you really want to make an impact on, and along the way you'll still impact others, but focusing on that, that one group or person, and and how you're going to be able to do that. What's that solution that you offer, and really starting to narrow that down. I think that's huge. But creating that mission driven business, what's really going to light you up to keep moving forward, even when things don't always run exactly as we want them to. So knowing your mission can definitely keep you inspired.
I would say also conquering your calendar and being organized. As you want to level up, you need to have goals. You need to actually have them mapped out how you're going to implement them. And a lot of that comes in place when you time block, because if you haven't put it on your calendar, it's probably not going to happen. And the day is going to end up running you instead of you running your day. And so using a Trello board is a free tool out there that you can use to schedule, or getting a planner that actually has timing on your daily sections. So I love it when I can block out from 30-minute increments are usually the type of planner I usually try to find. So starting at 6 a.m. in the morning to maybe midnight. Different ones have different time ranges, but basically I think it's really important to find a calendar that allows you to time block. And time blocking your core values is really important, and something that I found, because we're holistic beings. We want to be successful not just in our businesses, but also in our mental health, our spiritual health, our physical health, our relationship health. And so making sure that you're time blocking those core values into your week as well, because one thing I found is that when I didn't do that, I got burnt out. I felt unfulfilled. I felt stuck. And I just kind of had to you just kind of go down this dark path when you're not serving your soul in other ways, and you're just focused on one area of your life. Because we really were built and created to have healthy community and have healthy relationships. And we were built to have a healthy body. You know, our body is our temple. And so I think it's really important to time block different aspects of your holistic self into your calendar so that you're successful and happy in the majority of areas. I know you're never going to have like perfect balance of life, but if you can be, you know, if I can have a goal of just like meditating 1 time a week or working out 3 times a week and block that in, you're going to feel better than if you didn't do anything for your self-care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and what I love with the time blocking piece that was teaching, because I always used to think, oh, you have to have this balance between work and life. And it's not necessarily about the balance, but it, like she said, it's about knowing what those core values are and putting them in. So if you know, like you need to be able to see your friends, it doesn't mean you have to see them every single day, but you're making time for them, you know, maybe on the weekends or once a week or once a month or something like that. Or you know that it's important for you to be working in your business, doing those income producing activities. So that might take you though, like 3 hours of your day if you're doing this more full-time, part-time to full-time, you know? And so, but then you're still creating that space in the evening or whenever it works for you to still have that bond with your husband and with your children and those types of things. So that was huge for me, of just making sure I was keeping track of like what's important to me, what are my priorities, being able to say no to the things that aren't going to help me meet those goals I'm setting. And yes, to also though, like Brandie said, taking care more of myself and working out. And because that's something I don't really like to do. I'd rather go like play a sport or something, but I'm not, you know, now I don't play sports anymore. So it's a lot easier just to go to the gym or something, but I have found a way where I can incorporate it at home. So it works around my schedule, but I'm still doing that and setting that as something to hold me accountable, working with someone if you need to, like getting a mentor or coach. So those types of things that I think really make a difference when you can figure out your time blocking of all those core values.
Right. And, you know, it's so funny because us as entrepreneurs, we have this mindset that, you know, if we're not constantly doing things in our business, like I guess 24/7, or if we're not staying up late working on our business, it won't be successful. And I'm finding that a lot of entrepreneur leaders out there, like the big top leaders, is talking about, you know, it's important to do less, because less is more. And if you practice that and get in the mindset of that, then you will become successful. Me, myself personally, I haven't wrapped my mind around it yet. Maybe I will, but but it's the truth, because you get burnt out and then you're not doing the quality of work. And I've experienced that in the past, especially on other my current 9 to 5, you know, we were completely slammed with a lot of work, and we were staying from like 7 to 7 and working weekends. So it was working like 6 days straight, but our quality of work like dwindled down. But when we got to a place where we can actually be off at 5 o'clock and have weekends, the quality of work increased, you know, it got better. So I think blocking out some time for yourself, your mind, just to get yourself together, family and everything, it will make your quality of work a little bit more better. And then when you present it, people are like, oh, she really put some thought into it. She really did a good job in this, versus, oh, this is crap. You know, my kid can do this, you know? So.
Right. Exactly. Well, and something I learned too from a mentor of mine was when you're doing your scheduling or whatever, also batching. So I don't know how many listening are, you know, you work a lot probably through Messenger and things like that. I know for our industry, Messenger is like a big deal, or DM, you know, anytime you can personally connect with someone. And so I was feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm like online all day in Messenger talking to people, and that can be really draining. And then you're like, at the end of the day, if you haven't had a, you know, instant gratification of like an immediate result from that, or, you know, making money from that, right, then it can feel discouraging. And like you said, especially if your brain, I learned with the Enneagram, where achievers was like, I think it was like the 3 or something number. And so we have to have this almost result to feel good about ourselves. And so we're like, that's was one of the weaknesses or whatever. And so learning to batch, meaning like, okay, if you know that, yes, you need to be a messenger, but you're just scheduling like, okay, I'm going to do my messenger like activity at this time I'm going to check all my messages and respond or reach out or whatever you need to get done. You do it and set a timer if you need to, if you know you'll get lost in the rabbit hole otherwise. And then, then maybe check your email and kind of just set a timer, kind of do those together so that you're not all day checking all those things and being reactive. So you want to be more proactive, less reactive.
This is really good for me. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do anything. I'm telling on myself this year. I really am, because I'm going to be true to myself. A lot of stuff that I do, I notice that it is taking a lot of my time because I'm constantly in Facebook. I'm constantly looking in there because Facebook is my bread and butter, and I don't care what anybody says about it that is dead. It is not dead. It's making me money. So I'm like, I'm constantly in there all the time, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, what can I do to make my business move the needle more and stay out of Facebook a little less,
Yeah.
So
and finding what those activities are. Yeah.
Okay. So, if you knew then what you know now, what advice would you give yourself 10 years ago?
I look like you're getting ready to talk.
I would say that I think just standing in my truth, in my identity, and not letting the world dictate or influence how I show up and who I become. I feel like, especially as Christian entrepreneurs, we want to be in the world, not of the world. And so that's something I've really been focusing on, being distracted by these flashy things that when I get those, achievements or awards or recognition, I'm like, this really didn't fulfill me. And so kind of coming back to, that's why I like coming back to my core values and my true identity as a daughter of Christ. What is really important and how can I really show up and add value? And like at the end of the day, I've kind of just learned that if I show up, I'm, loving God, loving myself, and loving people, I'm doing a good job. And doing that in my authentic, unique way that God has put me on this world to do, and standing in my own purpose and not letting what other people's opinions or expectations of me dictate or direct my steps that, God has called me to fulfill and walk in. So that would be mine, as 32 right now. So 10 years ago, I'd be 22-year-old. Just be like, it's okay. Stand in your truth. Like, you don't have to please everybody and please the world, focus on what God wants you to do.
That's right.
Yeah. And I'm going to kind of piggyback off of that too. I think for me, I was a natural people pleaser, and kind of what used to describe myself as this chameleon. Like I could easily, connect with and interact with any group I was a part of and make friends. And that can be a good thing. Like I want to be able to be friendly towards people and get along with people, but sometimes too, I would compromise my own values or morals because of that, trying to just fit in with people, and always kind of had that fear of judgment or rejection. And so telling myself, at 20 is that, you need to, like Brandie said, like be yourself, but not let other people's judgments or your fear of their judgment hold you back from doing the things that you're called to do, or the whatever's like lighting you up inside. Don't be afraid to pursue that because you think someone is not going to, someone might put you down or not think you can do it. Like we've got to stop worrying so much about what other people are thinking. And if we have this dream or this calling, or, we are feeling that we all have these gifts and strengths to use. So if you can go and use them in a certain way, don't have someone give you permission to be able to do that. You don't need someone else's permission. And so I think, those fear of judgments held me back from making quicker decisions and moving it forward in the way that I wish I would have moved forward. And so that's what I would definitely tell myself, and just come from a place of always, service. I think I also would have that mentality of like, I need to give to get, but it's not like that. Right. And so I want to give because I have something that could help someone else, and I should not have any agenda attached to that. And that's going to help you a lot in your businesses as well, as if you can just show up and give of yourself to others, add that value. If you have something that can help someone, like don't hold back, share it with them. Let them know. And the more that you can help someone, they probably are going to come back to you later and be like, thank you so much, hey, and maybe they could become a future client or something of yours, but it's more about if you see something, say something, right? And how can you show up as yourself, not be afraid of what others might think or say. Half the time, they're probably not thinking about you at all. And they're probably thinking about themselves, right? And just take those steps forward, create that vision and start going after it.
That's awesome that you mentioned that, because I'm thinking, and I'm like, this would be my first time doing it, is hosting a workshop to help women, especially women like myself that work a 9-to-5 and like us, that already works a 9-to-5, want to build their business more, but just don't know how to go about doing so. So I was thinking about having like a workshop where they can utilize how to utilize Facebook groups to basically build, network, and grow like your network of people and help build relationships.
Yes.
And then how you can turn that network and relationships ultimately into making money and having clients. Because when we're on Facebook and we're on Facebook groups, it's like a battle. As soon as when somebody say, hey, can someone help me with XYZ, everybody is selling their product or service. And it's like, it's oftentimes not about that. So what I find myself doing in the groups is I'm going in there, and if anyone say, well, I need help with XYZ, I give my input, and then they say, oh, okay, thanks. And then if it's something towards my business and what I do or my podcast, I say, yeah, because I do it for my podcast or something. People go in there, they're reading the comments, and other people notice, and they're like, oh, she has a podcast. And next thing I know, I get a message from somebody saying, hey, I would like to be on your podcast. And I'm like, she wasn't in the comments, but there you have it.
Yeah, you're networking.
Just networking and just saying what you do, but not selling.
Right,
and then,
exactly.
Like my podcast have brought in an extra client for web design. And I'm like, I didn't have to do anything, like just talk and post, and that was it. No advertising, no anything. And then, hey, can you help me with my web design? Sure, no problem. And that's the power of it. And so that's ultimately my goal. So I just want to like piggyback on, what you say, about showing up and bringing value to a network of women or anybody in general.
I love that. I think I actually just went through a big training about Facebook groups, because we know that that's something that's huge to us. And so and that's what Facebook is actually going more towards, is really focusing on groups and creating communities. So I think that's awesome for you to have something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm going to write this down that you guys say you like it. It's so funny. So I actually want to trail off a little bit, and I know you guys are going to mention your what you have for our listeners, and I want to talk about the Victorious Entrepreneur Rising. I love it, and I saw the video on the website, and I was like, ooh, I like it. So could you guys tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, definitely. So this started when I really kind of like going off of Facebook groups and stuff. I really was needing and wanting a community of women. There's a lot of communities for groups for women and who are just entrepreneurs in general of all trades. And then, there's Christian groups, and I kind of wanted something I could learn a lot of things about our network marketing industry, but there wasn't anybody really doing that from a biblical standpoint. And so that was important to me, just to get some women together where our group could be kind of based on, our Christian principles, but also we're learning how to actually grow our business too. And I wanted to kind of like put those together. So it kind of started organically and just, hey, who would want to be a part of this? And then started hearing and seeing what these women, were struggling with in their businesses or just in life. And so started helping them with that and putting out trainings. And we came up with Victorious because that really popped out to me a lot. I read, this is an awesome book. If it's a devotional more so, or like you kind of work through it each day. So it's really short and sweet and to the point, but it's called More Than Sales: How to Seek God's Heart for Your Direct Sales Business. And there's like a key principle each day. And one of the words that just kept popping out to me was victorious, and victorious women, and that we can be victorious in Christ. And like I don't know if it was you or who was saying it earlier, talking about like it's easy to get, or maybe I was talking to somebody else earlier, I don't know, but easy to get caught up, your self-worth can start to get caught up in a rank or a position or a promotion. And then you kind of can lose yourself in that. And so it's about getting grounded in your key principles and your key values and what you ultimately stand for, that your business, those are things that are a part of you, but it's not necessarily what makes you who you are. Like, a certain rank, or if you earn this or earn that, that's just something that kind of is a perk along the way. So helping you get grounded and build those foundations that you need for both in life and personal development, and then being able to build upon that by growing a successful and sustainable business online. And so that's why we called it Victorious Entrepreneurs Rising, when we're rising as leaders in the industry, is what we really wanted to focus on too. Because I think a lot of women sometimes feel like they're not a leader if they don't have a team or have someone that they've coached yet. And the fact is that if you are out there and you've done a Facebook Live, or you're doing a podcast, or you're talking to women, whether it's offline or online, you are a leader. It doesn't matter if someone's necessarily joined your team or paid you yet, but if you're showing up and you're being intentional, you're a leader, and we want to help you develop that leadership mindset. Brandie, do you want to add anything to that?
I was just going to add that we also, our community, so that Victorious Entrepreneurs Rising is kind of like our umbrella, and then we have a community that we call our purpose partners, because we want our businesses to be mission driven and purpose driven based on the higher purpose that we're on earth for. And so we're all about partnering together in our business and faith, which is what Natalie talked about. And so I just think that's been a really cool community of women to come together and share our faith and share our business, and we can show up and support each other.
Yeah, and that was actually voted on that was kind of inspired by the women in the group of calling it Purpose Partners, was for the Facebook group part of it. So that's why
so the women in our program that we have, Rise to Your Purpose, we call them Purpose Partners, and we created these like Purpose Partner pods where the women going through the program could kind of help each other be accountability partners. So we put them in different groups based on their likeness and kind of the direction they were going in their business, so they could support each other. And then I was like, you know what, this would kind of work for our community too. And so the women in the community actually ended up voting for it. So we ended up changing our name a little bit to incorporate that as well. So I thought that was really neat.
That's awesome. I love that.
Thank you.
I really do. So what's next for Natalie and Brandie?
What's next for me? We're continuing on this. We actually are launching our Rise to Your Purpose program again. And so if that is something that you might be interested in, that is our signature program. And that's really we do a lot of coaching in our group, but that's really dive in, and we start from the foundation, work through mindset, all the way up to helping you create automation within your business and developing more of that leadership and that duplication for your team, which is so important for growing, is being able to create duplication. But we also want to help you kind of step up and stand out in your world, in your realm of influence, and help you develop that influence so that you aren't just, we don't want you to be that other network marketer or someone out there. We want you to really show up with being intentional, knowing how to create content, what to say. That's a lot of things that people struggle with. And so we really help you with that, and creating your own sphere of influence in groups. And like we said, all the way up to, if you're ready to automate your business, then teaching you how to do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And Brandie actually has some cool life things coming up, I think would be cool.
Yeah.
Well, so back to Rise to Your Purpose before I move on to that stuff. If anybody is interested, they can schedule like a 30-minute just clarity call with us to see if that's something that they'd be interested in. And it's calendly.com/live victorious. So just wanted to make sure if people were interested in that, they could reach out to us. But yeah, it's like, so my husband and I were adopting our first born son. We're expecting to adopt in February, so that'll be a big transition for me, which I'm really excited about. And then becoming my own author, and like this year I would really love to put out a devotional for women entrepreneurs. So that's something, after I get my book collaboration done, kind of pursuing that as well.
Well, congratulations. Oh.
We're really excited. We just had the 35-week ultrasound this past Wednesday, and so have like a 3D picture of his face, and I just can't wait to like actually hold him. The birth parents have been amazing, and we're doing an open adoption, and so it's just been a very beautiful divine intervention, like kind of done it. It's clearly God's hand is all in this. So
yes, definitely. So have you got everything situated? And
we're kind of waiting for the call now. She's 5 weeks to go, so I'm hoping the baby stays until February, just because I need to wrap up some of my life projects. But ready or not, here we come.
So do you guys already know the gender of the child?
It's a baby boy.
Oh, boy!
Yeah, we're so excited. I am excited to be a boy mom. So yeah, we can't wait, and we're just like waiting in anticipation. And it's definitely been a journey of surrender and learning to fully surrender, because we have no control over this process.
Yes.
And just like a very faith building, and gone through grieving, and just like there's all the feels that come with infertility and adoption, and completely surrendering your heart. And I'm like, here's my heart, God, please don't break it. And so it's been a beautiful experience just to like learn and really experience God's grace and mercy, and just like love in so many different ways. So yeah, I'm gonna get teary-eyed if I keep talking about it, but
it's okay. It's okay.
It's awesome. It's been an amazing journey. It's definitely been like one of the hardest things I've gone through in life.
Yeah.
But it's been very humbling experience. We probably could have a whole podcast about this.
Yeah, we should.
I'll come back on it if you want me to.
We definitely should. Hey, my podcast is open. It really is. And I'm this year I'm working towards I know I had it like as far strictly to authors, but I want to open up a little bit more, because I want more people coming in to bring in their business perspective, tips, and everything like that. And not just from an author standpoint, but more of a business standpoint that can actually really help authors in general. Because when you publish a book, it's your business. That's your product. Correct. So, and a lot of people don't know that. They're like, okay, I published a book, that's it. But you have to promote it. You have to constantly market it. You know I've been there 10 years ago, and you see my hair is thin. You see, it's from the 10 years of doing it. So I know the process and everything, and I know how it could be, but you have to have that mindset that this is my business. This is my product,
I think that was the biggest mindset shift for us too, with being in network marketing, is realizing that was probably the best thing that was said to me, was like, you are an influencer. Now, do you have to be this amazing influencer chick or something we might see on Instagram that you think of when you hear the word influencer? But no, you have to think of yourself as a marketer and as an influencer.
That's right.
If you really want to continue to develop it even more, and especially if you're more so on the professional standpoint. So it is important to learn those other just overall business skills in general, that you would learn somewhere else if you're starting up a business. So I think, that's super important.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah. Okay. So do you guys have any last minute advice or any last minute tips that you want to give to our listeners?
Well, I think, for me, and she said earlier about, are you up leveling? And as much as we want to up level, obviously in our business, like Brandie and I mentioned, you have to still take care of yourself. And so one thing that I'm working on, because last year we were doing a lot of different projects and we let some things go. And so I've committed this year to really having not a new year, new me, but a new year, better me. And so just taking little steps and getting myself plugged into things so that I can start eating healthier. So I am committing to, working out a couple times a week, like whatever I know that I would actually attain, and then I can grow from there. Right. But I think too, we are very much about being holistic health, working on yourself from the inside out as well. And so I just want to encourage you wherever you're at, like start taking care of yourself if you need to. If you need to go to bed earlier, do that. Like she said, you don't have to feel like you need to stay up till midnight to be successful.
Yes.
And so, is there certain areas you can start making healthier choices? Then I want to encourage you to do that.
I would say I have 2 questions that you should be asking yourself daily, or at least like on a regular basis of some sort. And the first question is, how can I show up as my highest self today? And what, or like, if you want to rephrase that too, what would my highest self be doing? Would it be snoozing for 10 minutes, or would it be getting up and going to do that yoga session? And then the second question is, if you had 100% support in whatever, in your next step, what would that next step be for you? So if you're kind of in a limbo space of, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do with my business, or a transition period, ask yourself, like, if I could do anything and have 100% support with no fear, no judgment, no failure, like, what would that be? And, I think that's something that you can use to check in, if not daily, but, on a weekly, monthly basis, especially as you're pursuing goals and setting up your strategy to make sure you're in alignment with the path you're going down, because you do want to be energetically aligned with where you're going and make sure that you are, like we had talked about, being true and authentic to yourself and to the calling that God's put on your heart, regardless of what people may think about you. So I think those are 2 questions I've been posing, especially the how can I show up as my highest self today, because it is all about changing habits. And, habits that we got into last year that maybe were not as healthy, we have to reshift the paradigm shift within your brain. And so it's kind of like, okay, if I want to show up and be my better version of myself, what does that look like? And then step into that. Even if it's just a small baby steps, you're still stepping into a better version of yourself. And you'll eventually get to where you want to go if you continue doing that.
Awesome. That's great. So you guys have a special offer for our listeners. I'm going to let you guys go ahead and take the mic.
So I know we kind of mentioned about the Rise to Your Purpose. So if that is something that you want to do and you are, you do end up scheduling a call at thecalendly.com/livevictorious, then we are also going to give you, we have a few bonuses. So you'll get our free Instagram workshop with that as well, and our free resource that is all about stopping that mind drama. So if you are, especially if it's someone that you're like, I have just been holding myself back and you need to push through that, then that resource has been amazing, which then will take you into a 3-part video series all about up-leveling, getting, grounded in your strengths and in who you are. And so yeah, you'll get that if you end up calling us, and then we'll be able to share with you more about our program to see if it's a right fit for you and something that you would like to be a part of, or just we do one-on-one coaching and things like that as well that are, unique and differentiates according to each person's business. So that's what we have for you.
Awesome.
Just
and where can
from the podcast, and then we'll know.
And where can everyone find you guys?
You can go over to Facebook at Victorious Entrepreneurs Rising. And then you can actually even go up to, if you want to join our group Purpose Partners, just click visit group and it'll take you right into there. And so, yeah, we would love to connect with you. That'll be the best place to start. And then we can go from there. So
awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I wish you guys all the best. And you guys have anything else you want to say?
I think that was really great. Thanks so much for having us, and we hope this added a lot of value to people. So,
yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. Go to hellocsdorsey.com to subscribe to the latest episodes, or subscribe on the platform that you're listening on now. And remember, nothing is impossible, so let's make the impossible possible on today. Until the next time, take care.